going on, guys, and welcome back to the show. After School with the Lawsons, we're all the way down south here in Sarasota with a very special guest, Miss Tanyalee Davis.
Hello.
Thanks for joining me.
Oh, well, thank you for flying all this way to come see me.
Yes, it was such a, flying's never fun, but it's when you get to your destination, you get to meet all these cool people,
Yep,
you know?
It's like the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
Sarasota's beautiful. You're beautiful. And I'm so excited to, let the guests hear more about you. And I know we hung out yesterday, and like usual, there's a lot of questions I ask when we hang out, and I'm probably going to ask the same ones today.
Okay. To be expected.
But Tanyalee, thank you so much. And who is Tanyalee Davis?
Well, I'm a force to be reckoned with. I've been underestimated my entire life, and I like to prove people wrong.
Yeah.
I just turned 53 November 27th of 2023, and I feel like I'm in my prime.
I don't know what it is about you, but I've seen older videos of you. And it looks like you're just getting younger as time goes on.
Oh, okay. Everything else is dropping, no gravity. I got the neck flap going on. I got bingo wings.
You look good.
I did lose some weight.
Yeah.
But I'm going home natural. I think it's just, it's your energy as well. I feel like I'm in the pocket right now in my life. Like I feel like the universe is finally all coming together, all the puzzle pieces. I think that's the way I look at life in general, as puzzle pieces. And as you get older, you can self-reflect and you see the puzzle all coming together and you're like, wow, all right, I went through all these troublesome times, but what an amazing picture I have at the end of this. And
what a heck of a story, right?
Yeah. And hopefully it's not the end. I'm hoping my picture, my puzzle is a lot longer. But it's, that's why I think right now, my energy level, because I'm putting it out there, because I believe that I found my purpose.
Right.
And when you found your purpose and when you're secure with yourself, it doesn't matter what other people are doing and what they say about you or whatever, the negativity that comes along with all of this hoopla we call social media and fame or notoriety. You have to be grounded and secure with yourself to be able to handle it. And right now, I'm like, I can handle this.
You're like, let's go. Let's put this bad boy in four-wheel drive and let's bring it on.
Boom. Take it
well, as you guys can tell, we're not in the usual podcast studio. Tanyalee was, thankfully she found us a place to be able to record. So where are we at? So
I have a form of dwarfism, and most little people were told that probably not, chiropractors were probably not a good thing. But as I'm getting older, I have skeletal dysplasia, which means, your bone deformity per se. And so I've been going to a chiropractor since 2020, and I moved to this area, Sarasota, and I happen to be scooting by, and I'm like, I see a chiropractor. So I'm like, what are the odds that it's literally around the corner from my house? So I zipped in, talked to Dr. Alex and said, here's my situation. And so I literally come once a week. He's got this little interceptor thing, activators. It's non-invasive. And
have you ever been to one before? Or is this the first time?
Oh, no. This is my third different chiropractor since 2020. I have to say, unfortunately, nobody's going to top Dr. Jill up in Inverness, Florida. Dr. Jill Smith, she's my OG, but
awesome.
Dr. Alex is phenomenal, and
super nice place, and thankfully able to have somewhere to record too. Yeah,
and he started his own podcast, or he's starting his own podcast. Cool. So this is the room that he's allowed us to use. So,
and as you guys can tell, my shirt may look a little wet. It is a little toasty in here.
I have that effect on men.
She does have that effect, but contrary to what most people think, Tanyalee, I think I look better wet.
Oh.
So as the show goes on and I get sweatier and sweatier, I'm just going to get sexier and sexier.
I'm menopausal, so getting wet these days is out of my wheelhouse, unfortunately.
Oh, my goodness. I love it. Well, anyways, have you ever thought about, and you may already have you ever thought about a book?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. My entire life story is what I talk about on stage. So yes, eventually I've got a lot, I'm a one-man band right now.
Yeah.
I'm doing everything, including my social media and tour schedules and stuff. So it's, my husband and I finally have a place to live for at least the next year. So that gives us the security. So, getting my ducks in a row kind of thing. And Kevin came up with a great title for our love story. It's going to be called Her Beauty is Shin Deep. instead of her beauty is skin deep.
Yeah.
So,
I love it.
It's great.
There's so much to cover today, and I wish we had days to do it. But I'm going to just get to the most important things. Mm-hmm. And if people don't know, Tanyalee Davis is a well-known comedian. She's been all over the world, and I want to hear more about that. So, when did you even start being a comedian?
Well, I grew up in Canada. And so we didn't have iPads or tablets back then. We had the television. So I grew up watching American television and British comedies, because Canada has a lot of British influence. So I watched Laurel and Hardy and then Carol Burnett, Lucille Ball, the physical comedians. So so from a young age, I had a magnetic board, or a marker board in my bedroom, and I would put my name with a star. And I just knew I wanted to perform, but I didn't know that a stand-up comedy type of thing even existed. So I started doing children's theater out of university, and I got the lead in the first production I ever auditioned for. I was Perry the Penguin. I had the walk down. And I started dating a guy in the production. He played the villain, and apparently he had a thing for penguins. Boom. And one night he said, I'm going down to a comedy club to do an open mic. Do you want to come check me out? And first time ever, my home city of Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Never been to a comedy club before. So I'm back the back of the room watching these people just get up and perform. And I was like, oh my gosh, you just get up there and do your thing. And I was like, I can do that. And then I watched the guy that I was with, and I was like, he's terrible. And instinctively, I knew what he was doing wrong. Yeah. So when he got off stage, I was energized. I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, you're a shit. And he's like, thanks. You think you can do better? And
At least you were honest with him, right?
Yeah. He's like, you think you can do better? And I was like, yeah. So 3 months into it, I started getting paid. 4 months into it, he dumped me. Amazing. Couldn't handle the competition. Turns out he started dating a seal.
He skipped from the penguins to the seals.
Yeah. Huh? But I'll tell you a great story about the first time I ever went on stage. And I just started talking about this on stage. So my first time at the comedy club, so after that, my first going there, they called me and said, you're going to be going up on whatever night of the week it was. Do you have any special requirements? And I said, well, I'll probably need a chair to stand on. Back in the day, I was more agile, so I could get up on a chair and I would stand on it and lean against the back of the chair. It would take a lot of pressure off my back. So I show up at the comedy club, my second time ever at this comedy club, any comedy club. My first time performing, and the managers come over and say, the headliner's really upset you're here. And I'm like, okay, first of all, how does the headliner even know who I am? And why? I'm an open mic. This is my first time on stage. Yeah. Why is she even threatened by me? And it was like, oh, I don't understand. So this is, looking back once again, perspective, I see there's certain pivotal points in my life where I come across these situations and something snaps in my brain and I go, oh, I'll show you, right? So I may, if that situation may not have happened, gone up and maybe fumbled. I went up there with, I don't know what's happening. But I'm going to go up there and kick some ass. Yeah. And I went up there and I did really, really well the first time up. And I think it's because I just was like, and I still trying to figure out why are you trying to sabotage me? Mm-hmm. Like, it didn't make any sense to me. It's my first time. Anyway, so I sat at the back of the room for the rest of the show, watched the other comedians. Then the headliner gets up there. And it all made sense. He was 5'2" tall. His entire act was about his height. Oh. When you got to follow a midget, your short jokes mean shit, right? So that was it. And his name Kerry Tomlich, and he basically refused to work with me and kind of sabotaged me at many comedy clubs because he would never want to be on the same lineup. And because it's a boys club and stuff, he was really infiltrated. So he really messed up my career for a long time. Yeah, he's dead now. Oh,
well, that's good, I guess. I mean, good for you, right?
But anyway, that's one of those situations where it's like, I will show you. I will prove you wrong. It's a good motivation in life.
Yeah. You are so powerful. I was telling my mom whenever I got here, I was just like, you're such a powerful woman, and you have, you have the unstoppable me, which I definitely want to talk about too. But there's just a precedence about you that it's not that it's just the comedian. You know, you're so funny too, which makes it even better. But you have this precedence that you're just like you are so independent, and it's amazing, and it's a really great story, and it's motivational to me as well, you know. Wow. And it's crazy everything that you've been through that we've talked about, and then seeing where you're headed and you got great things ahead of you.
I do. I'm looking forward to it because we've been through the ringer. I've worked hard. I mean, January 23rd, just a couple of days ago, was my 34th year anniversary in comedy. So, I mean, 3 decades plus decades in any job is great. And then to be able to travel around the world and have all these amazing adventures, and now to be able to talk about it on stage. And the reason why I guess I exude whatever you were mentioning is because like I said, I'm comfortable with who I am. I've achieved. I have led the foundations and the stepping stones to where I am right now. And I talk to people online. I go, listen, if you want to troll me, you can't tear me down if you never brought me up. Yeah. I have receipts on everything that I've done. And so that gives me confidence. Yeah. And I don't need to be worrying about what other people are doing or other people's opinion of me. That doesn't matter to me. Right. And it's none of my business what your opinion of me is. And I'm going to wake up tomorrow not even thinking about you, you know, and just as long as I'm moving forward in my career, that's, you know, and I've got the good people around me that support me and build me up.
That's the most important.
That's it. You got to, as you get older, your social circle gets smaller. Yeah. And I'm fine with that. And that's where that confidence comes from. And therefore, and also, you know, as you get older, you gain wisdom. I've been in the business a long time, so I'm mentoring. I'm comedy Yoda for a bunch of other comedians. And so I'm giving back in that regard. Yeah. And then my social media, like the Unstoppable Me, I don't make a lot of money on social media. I'm there because I want to be there. I feel like my Unstoppable Me message is for everybody, and it's much needed now. Because of my age, and I'm a Gen Xer. I don't have that victim mentality, right? I've had that victim mentality, you know, but I now see it. And now it seems like our younger people, a lot of them have it. Yeah, right? Oh, yeah, for sure. Everybody's putting themselves in a box. Well, I can't do this. I'm disabled. I can't do that. I'm handicapped and this and that. And it's like, okay, if you set your mind to it, if you believe it, you can achieve it. Mm-hmm. You are limiting your own ability by saying you can't. How about just try it to your own ability and you'll be surprised at what you can accomplish. And that's one thing that if no matter, you can troll me online all you want. You don't have to think I'm funny, but if you don't agree with this Unstoppable Me message, you are hurting yourself. Yeah. Because it is a mindset. It's stop putting, you know, your race, your color, your gender, your religion, your height, your weight, your color. None of that matters. Yeah. It's about working on yourself. The exterior 100%. Of you, you know, is going to fade, or you're going to plump it up and tuck it up and stretch it out until it looks like some sort of weird skin, you know, but that's what people are doing. It's still not going to fix what's in the inside and in your head. And I think we need to really focus more on that. And it's termed mental health, like that, you know, there's a label for everything now. But you know, we all have mental health, good or bad, but stop labeling and just work on yourself. Find your inner zhuzh, your warm fuzzies. Once you latch on to what gives you those warm fuzzies, you pursue that. Yeah. And then the people will see you in your good light. Mm-hmm. And then they'll be attracted to you like a moth to the flame. Like attracts like. Yeah, there you go. And that's why I do what I do. I don't know what's came over me within the past, you know, a couple of years. And it may have been the fact that my daughter was born, you know, and she's 2. And I still to this day don't know what that is. But something has happened that has came over me, and I want to be that helping hand. I want to be that person that people can lean on or people can talk to, or, hey, let me help you out. You know, I've seen a lot. I've been through a lot, and I just want to be there for that next person who's doing the same thing. You know, I don't want to watch somebody burn. I want to be there with a bucket of water to help put out that fire. You know what I mean? Well, it's called getting older. I mean, like I said, it's self-reflected. I've heard that as well too. You wanna give back. Yeah. You wanna leave a bit of a legacy. Yeah. You wanna believe that when we all have an expiration date, that's why it's important to live every day to its fullest. And I've done that once again my entire life. If I die tomorrow, I gave it hell. Yeah. You know, and I've done what I could. But I also know that I can leave, or you know, that I've I've also tried to impart wisdom and knowledge and help, to other people. So,
I love it. Well, I was looking on your Instagram the other day, and so when was your anniversary again?
January 23rd, so Tuesday.
So Tuesday.
Yeah.
So whenever I saw that, you were in Texas. Yeah. Tell me about Texas. What was you doing in Texas? Because I saw a picture of you and Bobby Lee.
Yes. So awesome. I had... Right, at my age, it's difficult, and even though I have a huge profile, I'm still having difficulty getting into the mainstream comedy clubs because, without an agent and then not on television. So I'm booking theaters. So my support act, David Westgate, and we did the Beltonian Theater in Belton, Texas, and we did the Mineola Theater in Mineola, Texas.
Okay.
And Historic Select Theater in Mineola, Texas. And it was lovely, in the middle of nowhere. So we had those two theater dates, and I've never really spent any time in Austin, Texas, and it's sort of a comedy mecca right now, because Joe Rogan is based out of there with his JRE, Joe Rogan Experience, plus he opened a comedy club called the Comedy Mothership, and they also filmed the Kill Tony podcast, which is huge amongst the comedy in the comedy world these days. So I said to David, any chance we want to stick around for a couple of days and try to network and see. Yeah, absolutely. So we went down on the Monday night, which is like a potluck. You sign up for hundreds of comedians line up. You sign up for 3 minutes for an open mic. They take all the names and then they draw only 16 names, and you get 3 minutes. I'm a storyteller. I can't talk for that.
Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah. So I was like, if I don't get on it, that's fine. I didn't get picked for the open mic. But then you line up and for the Kill Tony podcast, and they only picked 6 people out of that. And there were hundreds hundreds of comedians. And I didn't get picked for that either, which I guess is a blessing because it's kind of a roast. Like the panel, they want to go out. They'll find a diamond in the rough, but they like to roast the comedians. Yeah. And, I could think because, I'm not a roaster. I don't, that's not my style. But,
I feel like you could give it back to him.
Oh, I could. Yeah. A couple of zingers, but, that's not my style per se. Is where I showcase. So, but I got to just being around a whole shit ton of comedians. I remember the great and the bad about all that, the kind of, people, you have a conversation with somebody and they're just talking at you. Oh. It's not a two-way conversation because, they want to so I'm recognizable and stuff, and then they want to tell me all their credits and stuff like that, and I try to interject, and they're like, ah. I'm like, oh, okay, now I remember why, it was a really cool experience. That's and awesome. Austin's neat, and I hope to get back in there doing some shows, and then I ran in outside. Bobby Lee and Bert Kreischer were both a part of the panel for the Kill Tony episode, plus Bobby had filmed the Joe Rogan Experience.
Yeah, I seen he was filming that, yeah.
So David had said to me, they're probably going to go out the back or something. I said, not Bobby Lee. So we went and grabbed a slice of pizza, and as we came back on the sidewalk, all of a sudden I saw this little, beanie come out, this orange beanie, and I was like, Bobby kind of looks homeless, and he comes running out, and everybody's, pictures. Yeah. So I was like, I'm on my scooter, and I'm like, I bear down, and people are flying, and I just went up and I stuck my hand right up his ass crack, and I just was like fingers right up the crack, and I grabbed it, and that's why if you look at the video, he went like this, kind of like, and then he took a second, he went, oh my God, Tanya! And,
I love it. Yeah, because on yours, you probably got like all 4 of them.
Oh, I can, right up there, yeah.
I love it. How big is the Comedy Mothership? I've never even seen.
We weren't allowed in.
Oh,
we
wow.
were actually in a building,
Gotcha.
They don't let you in. It's completely sold out months in advance. So.
Is there you said there's like hundreds of comedians. Is the comedian world growing? Is that something that is growing from, whenever you first were in it to now?
Probably, I would say, just because of social media, because people want that instant fame too. So, back in the day, you're funny, you should be a comedian. A guy or gal would be funny amongst their friends. So you try to do comedy. Well, it's not as easy as it looks. But now with social media and stuff, you could put out 10, 15, 30-second videos that can be very funny and appealing, but that doesn't mean you're a stand-up comedian. Right. You couldn't go up on stage now for minimum 45 minutes as a headliner, but some people get this instant fame quite early on in their career, but they don't have enough foundation underneath them. So, there's a fine line. Like I tell my guys, you want to get yourself in the best position right now and before you put stuff out there, because, it's out there. And, you want to show off your best light.
Do you feel that, is it a boys' world or a girls' world in the comedy world?
It's definitely male dominated. It always has been. I'm sure there's now, a definitely more influx of female comedians, and also because of the culture right now, they're pushing a lot more female comedians and all inclusive, or other diversities, if we will. We can't list them all off. To put them in because everybody wants to be all inclusive. And it's like, okay, nowadays it doesn't seem like it's necessarily about the funny. Right. Which is a shame. They're just really trying to back people to make, put them in.
Is it a territorial world,
Comedians, in the entertainment business, right? That's why I moved from Canada down to Los Angeles. And at first I was like, oh, this is so cool. LA, super, American. That was my first big, huge American city, moving from Canada. Wow. Very ethnically diverse and stuff. And, but after about the first year, you're kind of like, am I going to meet anybody that's authentic? Because everybody was always like, hey, nice to meet you. What can you do for me? Oh, gotcha. That sort of attitude. You never felt like you really could connect.
Almost like they were using you.
Oh, yeah. Very transient. That's so crazy. People were in and out. And, that's the entertainment business. And I've always led my career, and I to try to help people believe that there was a purpose and a place for me in the entertainment business. So I didn't ever try to squash anybody or try to climb on somebody else to get to the next rung. I just believe, and I tell my guys this, just stay within your, in your own head and be like, forge on, believe that what you got is going to be unique enough. And if it's your time, it's your time. And don't worry about, somebody that's come up underneath you that's now, jumped about, I've some people that started comedy way after me are selling out arenas and stuff like that. And I'm fine with that, but of course people on the internet, I've never heard of you. I'm like, that's okay. You've never heard of me. I've done amazing things, and someday you will. Yeah. So,
what is the craziest place you've ever performed? Like, as far as like beautiful, the crowd is, in it, and like you can just tell everybody's having a good time. Like, where's your most memorable on-stage moment?
Well, I've had many good, so the biggest show I've ever done was Live at the Apollo from London. Okay. The London Apollo is, that's the biggest TV show over there. It was in front of 4,000 people. Wow. It wasn't the most amazing. Like, TV comedy is not great in big theaters. They've been sitting there all day, they get hyped up. But what I tell anybody when you're doing television, you play to the camera like you're killing it because they'll just boost the audio up anyway, even if you die on your ass. Gotcha. They had a comedian that absolutely died. Like, he was getting booed. But then you watch the television version.
And they were like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's all.
That's crazy. I did not know that.
Oh, yeah. So you just play like you're just killing it. I've done. Early on in my career, I got booked in the Cayman Islands for 2 weeks. Ooh. So, every day, and I was the opening act, so I had to do 20 minutes, but I got to spend 2 weeks on the Cayman Islands snorkeling and scuba diving and parasailing, doing all this stuff. So that was amazing. I got to do a show in a castle on top of a cliff in the city of Ljubljana, Slovenia.
Wow. Where is that?
So Italy and Venice, we flew into Venice, and then we kind of drove around. I guess it's the Mediterranean or whatever that.
I bet it's beautiful over there.
Oh, absolutely stunning. And it was 500 people sitting there. We were on this big, huge stage. It was for a festival. It was spectacular. I've done shows in Japan on marine bases. I did 7 bases in 10 days. Okinawa, Japan.
Oh,
wow. Australia.
How do they take to like the American comedy?
Well, I performed to U.S. Marines.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
okay.
So they were loving it.
Yeah.
And, they're just happy to have a good time and enjoy the fact that they've got people coming out to entertain them. So that was a great experience. I did Abu Dhabi and Dubai.
Oh, but that's beautiful there too.
Yeah, very cool. And, desert and really interesting. I mean, obviously, as a little person driving around, and that time I had ginger hair. So a ginger dwarf traveling in a scooter around, with all these Middle Eastern people and the sheiks, they call them sheiks, with the white, robes and stuff like that, looking at me and, but yeah, you got women wearing G-strings and are topless or pasties on the beach with women with like the full burqa bathing suits.
No.
It's a really interesting,
I'd rather be
dichotomy.
I'd put the G-string on, to be honest with you.
I can only imagine.
What is, so you were talking about you were in the Cayman Islands and you went snorkeling. You just went snorkeling too, right?
I went scuba diving.
Scuba diving, yeah.
Yes.
So what was that?
Okay, so I've been scuba diving in 4 different countries. The Cayman Islands was the first time. I went at Turkey and the Philippines. I took my husband. And just recently, this past December, my cousin came to visit from Canada, and one of my fans on TikTok, Scuba Diving with Skip, he had been messaging me and said, if you ever want to go diving, and I was like, absolutely.
That'd be so fun.
So when my cousin was coming out, I was thinking about things to do, and I happened to be doing a show in Fort Pierce, Florida, so it's only an hour and a half north of Fort Lauderdale, so I said to Skip, any chance, we can throw this together. Anyway, didn't think I would enjoy the Atlantic Ocean, because I've been, scuba diving in coral reefs and stuff like that, but I had no idea that there's actually a coral reef from Fort Lauderdale down through the Florida Keys. And so there's a big ridge. And also, the first dive we went on was a shipwreck dive. I got to go inside a tugboat. I posted a video about it. I can't swim when I've got all the gear on. So I literally have to have my own person that just holds my tank and just guides me around.
Gotcha.
And I had Stephanie, and she was fabulous, and she took me inside the tugboat, and I was like, this is so cool. The first fish I saw was a 600-pound Goliath grouper. I was like, it was like I was Moby Dick in the, Jonah.
It was probably eyeing you like,
Yeah, a little bait.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, it was phenomenal. So we did that trip. So now what we've decided is, because I love to scuba dive, and a lot of people, it's on their bucket list. So we've actually, July 8th through the 15th, the Unstoppable Me scuba diving trip with me.
That's awesome.
Out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I'm offering a deal for my fans. You get $1,000, you get a hotel room. So you can have 2 people, 4 people, sometimes 6 people in the room. So the room itself is $1,000. You can split it however. And with that $1,000 for 7 nights, so it's a great deal for Fort Lauderdale, you get a night of karaoke, a night of trivia, and a comedy night with me. And then for an extra $200 per person, we're doing, you get your training course and up to 4 dives with me.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, so July 8th through the 15th, email comedian Tanyalee Davis at Gmail, or look on the flyer and give Skip a call.
Yeah, if you're trying to cross stuff off the bucket list.
There you go,
that's
right?
a one way to do it.
You get comedy show with Tanyalee and scuba diving.
What about skydiving? Have you ever done that?
That was the number one thing on my bucket list. And we filmed the Unstoppable Me documentary in late 2022. And that was, we were trying to arrange that, and then I was told medically that my body's in bad shape, that the force of getting pulled up could be detrimental.
Even if you was like tandem with somebody?
Yeah, no, I'd have to be, because I'm only 75 pounds, 80 pounds. So, I figure if I'm going to die, why not be strapped to a man's crotch? Hello.
That's one way to go out, right?
Either on stage or doing that. I'm okay with that. So
you said you're only 75 or 80 pounds. So I picked Tanyalee up for the first time. I've never picked a dwarf up. Yeah. So this was new to me. And she was like, you ever done this? And I was like, not at all. So she put me through a quick crash course.
How to pick up a dwarf 101.
And it's nothing to it.
Well, honestly. The thing is most people go, because I'm so small, they think I'm light. Yeah. And so I, up until 3 years ago when I got my head straight, I weighed 100 pounds. And so I was chunky, stocky with the red hair. Any videos you see me with the red hair. Anywho, so people go, no, I'll pick you. I'm heavy. No, I'll pick you. And then they go to pick, oh, you're heavy. I'm like, asshole. But said 20, I've lost 20 to 25 pounds.
That's awesome.
So that's significant.
What did you do to do that?
Well, Kevin and I moved, my husband, we moved from England. The lockdown happened. That I knew I would probably put on weight. So that's when I started doing dance videos on Facebook. And I was doing video diaries on YouTube and stuff just through the lockdown, trying to inspire and motivate people. So I thought, I know because I'm not going to be able to perform, that my mental health, I was going to get depressed because I'm like that if I can't be on stage.
Yeah.
And then to be locked down in England where, it's a miserable place to be there's not a global pandemic. So now to be locked in.
I could not imagine.
Yeah, so that was 4 months. So I started doing, I would put on an 80s song, Let's Get Physical. So I put, my underwear over my tights, and I put a bandana on, let's get physical. So I put those videos out there. I'm like, come on, everybody. It doesn't matter if you've got mobility issues. Move your eyeballs, just get those endorphins going, the happy hormones. Because any physical activity you do is going to release a happy chemical that we have in our bodies, right? So that's what helped. I was trying to help people. Well, I kept getting copyright infringements because of the songs. So my friend in the UK, comedian Mel Moon, suggested I try the TikTok. And so I downloaded it. Of course, no idea what I was doing. And I did a couple videos. She duetted them, and I garnished quite a number of following, and then I put it down. Then we moved to Florida because we had nowhere to go. My husband and I moved in with my dad, my stepmom in Florida, and that's so it was the following August of 2020 when I did my first sort of viral video, and then October 1st, I had October 1st is when I started going live, religiously. And I had about 126,000 followers. And of course, everybody was like, when are you going to get married? Because Kevin would be off fishing during the day when I would go live. Then I would take
Living the dream.
Yeah, we needed it. And then I'd be doing my videos and doing live. And then he would come back after having a couple beers and fishing, and then he gets a little chatty in the background. Occasionally, he'd like to be seen, so I had the camera. People were like, when are you getting married? When are you getting married? And I was like, when we hit 1 million followers. Because I didn't know anything about social media.
Yeah.
We hit 1 million followers December 15th. 2 months later, I was like, oh, crap, now we got to get married. So, anyway, we got married in Fort Pierce, Florida at Pierced Cider Works.
That's awesome.
And my friend's bar, and we streamed it on February 21st of 2021. We streamed it on Clapper and TikTok and Facebook. And so we had thousands of people watching us get married, and it was beautiful.
So what are you up to now on TikTok?
I've been sitting at 3.2 million for probably a year
That's
now.
Amazing.
I can't get past it. But yeah,
someone, my thing is, we have a ton of people that watch the show and what can I do, to start social media, to grow followers. But at your age though, for you to have that amount of followers and daily actively posting and commenting and going live and telling stories, that's amazing that you just picked that up and started doing it, because there's a lot of people your age that's like, what is this contraption?
I know I do feel like a dinosaur, but I think I've sort of got my rhythm. I usually have a bunch of videos in the bank kind of thing in the vault drafts.
That's good.
But
that's the way to do it.
Yeah, but I don't, so I got to get back on it. But I've had a lot going on, lots of great things happening. I also think a lot of my following, I try to be as authentic as possible.
Yeah.
And, I don't take myself seriously. I have a great sense of humor. So I'm going to do my dance videos, and I'm going to be goofy, and I'm going to rock it out and try to do the moves that they're doing. But, obviously it's going to look ridiculous, but I don't care.
That's how I originally found you, was the dancing videos. And I was like, this woman is hysterical. So I started watching, and, because you've been on there for a couple years now.
Yeah, it's been just over 3 years.
And, back when we started is when I noticed you, and I'm like, this girl's a hoot, and that's whenever I started the podcast, you kept popping up on my For You page, and I was like, I got to get her on the podcast, so I appreciate you whenever you message people on Instagram with business accounts, it's like one of those things. It's like, are they going to accept it or not? So I messaged so many people, and luckily select few reply back, and they're like, they probably look at the picture and like, who is this guy? It says Whitney Lawson and it's Daniel, So there's a picture of both of us on there. But so you have all the platforms. What all platforms do you run?
Well, not as many. I guess I should. So, obviously TikTok's my biggest one. Facebook, unfortunately, my Facebook's been not recommended anymore. So it's been plateaued for 15 months now. I got to figure out how to get that recommended again. So I'm done well on that. Instagram is comedian Tanyalee Davis. Everything else is Tanyalee Davis. YouTube, Tanyalee Davis. Clapper. I was going on Clapper. It's I call it the adult version of TikTok. So during the lockdown and everything, starting January of 2021, every night at 10 p.m. till midnight, I was going on. So I was doing 2 to 6 hours a day between TikTok, Facebook, and Clapper. And it was only literally until this December that I've kind of not been able to do my 10 o'clock live. So I was doing but it's just my life is getting very hectic and I have to prioritize.
Yeah.
And I feel so guilty because I took the best of the best from TikTok and Facebook because TikTok and Facebook, you know how like TikTok can do that.
Yeah.
Well, I was in the basement, so I was like, all right, we're going to another app. So I brought hundreds of people over to Clapper. And so at 10 o'clock, I'd be in my jammies. Kevin and I would do some edibles or something. We'd just sit there and giggle. And, it was our late night family cookout. Right. And I didn't have to watch my language. And it was a lot more personable. And my Clapper family and my fans are a little bit more, close to me than some of the other fans because, we just had that kinship. And unfortunately, I've had to step back a little bit from that. But it's just, I have to prioritize.
Yeah, I mean, you have things popping up right now that are, that's a dream for you and you got to jump on it. You know what I mean? You don't want to miss the bus whenever it's parked right out front. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
I'm sure they understand.
Well, yes, some do and some, you're going to get chastised no matter what. Right. And it's just like, people feel when you have a profile that you owe them something. Yeah. And we as creators have to set boundaries as well. And I go, listen, I give a lot more than a lot of people.
Yes.
And I don't have to because I don't make a lot of money on this. I'm here because I want to be. So when I need to take a step back or I've got things going on, you have to respect that. I will give you what I can.
Yeah.
When I can. Because I do value my support system because I wouldn't be where I am without the people, my fans, and what I've accomplished personally.
I agree. As far as information or suggestions for people that want to start social media, what was the one thing that you did that kind of helped you grow your following to someone who's never done anything like that before? Like, what do you suggest that they do to even get started?
Well, I mean, you got to figure out what angle you want to go to. Are you a person that just wants to do dance videos? Are you a person that wants to engage and you want to grab their attention and do you have a story to tell? If you look, there's so many people have recovery stories and, there's a whole base on TikTok where it's about inspiring other people and giving that support system. Or there's the comedy or, filters or the animated eyes or whatever those types of things. You got to figure out where you want to go with that, and then dive in and don't worry about the negative comments because the algorithms don't know whether the comments are positive or negative.
Yeah.
This is the way I see social media, and I tell my fans, my people is listen, especially as your following grows, there's going to be negative comments. So the best thing, we all want engagement. That's what social media is. It's all about engagement.
Amen.
Right? So if somebody makes a comment on your social media, the algorithm doesn't know if it's positive or negative, right? So the best thing you can do is put a little heart, right? Put the heart beside it. Doesn't matter if it's negative or put the little heart. And then you reply, because that's good for the algorithm. Thank you for the engagement.
Yeah.
Right? Because it doesn't matter whether it's negative or positive. Thank you for the engagement because the trolls are not smart enough to realize that they're actually pushing your content.
You're helping me.
Yeah, you're like, I don't think you're funny. Yeah, but you know what? Now more people are going to see my video because you just commented. So at the end of the day, you win. So if you just keep that in mind, and just like I said, follow what makes you tick, what makes you laugh, what makes you, anything like that. Just follow that and your tribe, your people will find you. Mm-hmm. Just be authentic.
What is the thing that you've overcome the most? Like, what is that one thing that you're just extremely proud of yourself about for achieving being at your age now. How old are you? 53?
I just turned 53.
53.
Yeah.
So you've got 53 years to look back on. What is the one thing that you're like, I'm so glad that I've achieved this goal?
Well, I have my name and my photograph on the world famous Comedy Store on Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood, California.
That's
with some
amazing.
of the greatest comedians in the world.
That's awesome.
So when people say, oh, I don't think you're funny, that's okay. You can't take my name off the wall.
Yeah.
I'm on with Dave Chappelle and Lenny Bruce and Robin Williams, my idol, George Carlin. I mean, wow. And my name's alongside because Mitzi Shore, Pauly Shore's mom, who is the queen, the mother of comedy, she passed me. That's a rite of passage in the comedy world. She deemed me worthy to become a Comedy Store regular. And I got passed the same day as Ralphie May. I'm not sure if you know him. Comedian Ralphie May, who's unfortunately not with us anymore. But talk about extremes. You got the little person midget and then the ginormous 400, 500-pound dude. And we were good friends. And so... When did
you get that
1998 is when I got passed. Wow. Yeah, same year. Yeah, and... So, yeah, that, and then doing TED Talks, doing 2 TED Talks. You have to be invited to do TED Talks. I'd always wanted to, and then I got offers at 2 within a couple of months.
Now, where is that at? Where did you do that?
They do universities all over the world will curate a TED Talk. So what they do is they kind of come up with a theme, and then they'll scour the world and find people that might fit that theme to come in and talk. The crazy thing is as a comedian and stuff like that, I didn't realize when they hold these events. Okay, so first of all, I landed one in Cyprus. That was November 30th. Well, then months later, I landed one in Liverpool, but I was going to do it before early November of that year. So the Cyprus one was still later. So I did the one in Liverpool. I talked about the trains because I have a mobility scooter. That's how I get around. It allows me to be independent. Living in the UK, the scooter's not considered a wheelchair. So, and the public transportation over there is a nightmare. So if you want to go down the rabbit hole of Tanyalee Davis and trains, but I'm an unstoppable me. I'm back from the ashes. Phoenix rising from the ashes. So I talked about all my drama on the trains for that one. You're only allowed 15 minutes. And as you can see, I can talk. So when you watch the TED Talk from Liverpool, I'm quite rushed. And, I had a lot to say and I wanted to get it out there. That one was okay. But the way I looked at it was like, you know what? I'm so lucky because that was almost like a dress rehearsal. So my husband and I got flown to Cyprus. Beautiful island, right? We're doing the University of Nicosia. So they have 3 sections in the show and they have speakers. And when I showed up, I gave them a USB with some photos. And they kind of looked at me like, okay, you're a comedian. Why would you be giving us photos? See, in my mind, I was going in to do a TED Talk. Right. I was going to talk and I was going to show slides. I didn't realize that during these events, they will have speakers that do proper TED Talks, but then they'll also put in a performer to do like entertainment in each section. So the first section had somebody playing piano and da-da-da-da-da-da. So essentially they hired me or whatever, and you don't get paid, but they flew me out there to be like the entertainment section for that section. So they thought I was just doing straight stand-up. And when I realized this, I was like, oh, shoot, because we did a dress rehearsal the night before.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, I got to put in more jokes. And they were like, you can still do the slides and everything. Anyway, we got there, not at the beginning of the day because I was later on in the afternoon, but I got to watch the sections. And that's when I realized, I was like, oh, wow, I completely had this all wrong. Anyway, I'm like, no, this is what I want to do. This is the type of comedy TED Talk I want to do. So I was like, said to Kevin, I'm just going to do what I planned on doing. I punched it up a little bit. Out of whatever the 9 people, there was 2 people that got standing ovations, and I got one of them.
That's awesome.
They did not expect what they got from me because they thought it was just going to be comedy. But I kind of did a version of the Unstoppable Me, was showing the slides of my life and my stick and me on my scooter traveling around the world. And it was that empowering, don't let your size or whatever define who you are. And I'm super proud of that TED Talk. And it was so well received. I had 500 people on their feet.
That's awesome.
People from all over the world were there. It was, and my husband was there, and it was awesome. Just right after my birthday. So he, who is like, does not like to be in front of people or anything, he walked out with a birthday cake, and the whole place sang happy birthday to me. Like the event people set it all up. It was so lovely. So yeah, that I would say is up there with one of the tops.
You've accomplished a lot. And it's crazy, and more to come, right? Like,
absolutely. Well, we have the Unstoppable Me documentary.
Yeah. So what is that message? Like, I've heard you say Unstoppable Me throughout the podcast, but what is your main goal with the Unstoppable Me?
Well, once again, it's my legacy. So, a film crew from the UK, a comedian friend of mine and director, now director, contacted me, said, I'd like to do a documentary on your life as a comedian. And then, of course, you got to have a different type of storyline. Well, when I told them what I was doing on social media with my Unstoppable Me message, trying to put it out there to empower people and inspire them, using my life story as examples. Yeah. He was like, I'm on it. So they flew over. We got a schedule up to Pottstown, Pennsylvania, and back down, and we stopped at a couple of places along the way and met up with some of my fans and some other comedians. So, my buddy Shelly Belly, who I met on TikTok, who hasn't been doing comedy that long, but she's my age, so she also is a storyteller. Her and I were touring together, and now she's like kind of almost like surpassing me, because her following is really on board. She's great. She's in the documentary. I have Rose Vineshank, who's a comedian up in Pennsylvania that I sort of mentor. And then I had my OG fans, Ron and Arnold from Ohio, that drove all the way from Ohio to Pottstown, Pennsylvania to be part of the documentary. And my little Clapper group, a bunch of them came out. So, we've actually added parts of the initial video when I was in the UK, sort of the video that became viral when I got forcibly, if you will, removed from the train, me and my scooter to accommodate a woman with a baby stroller. And that whole interaction, by the time I got home 6 hours later, I was beat down and broken.
Oh, I guarantee it.
So I sat in my bedroom with my iPad, just my face bawling, talking about, how the UK has made me feel disabled. And it was almost like that moment was so like, you've broken me. Mm-hmm. You guys, like, I've never had a victim mentality until I moved to the UK, and it's so prevalent around there, and their bullying culture is so intense, and I don't think they realize it. But all the more reason why I'm excited to come back. I'm doing a 23-city tour in the UK because my message, they need it. I mean, it's needed everywhere, but my people in the UK, you need it. Because I don't know what it is about that, their culture, but
You're going to show up and show out. I know that.
I am, baby. I'm bringing it home. And I'm going to, I'm probably going to break down crying on stage.
That's okay.
Talking about
good.
the train stuff, because it's still, but I don't have that victim mentality. And the fact is, I am the way I am right now today because of that.
Yep.
So I wouldn't change it. This is why people need to look. Don't revel. Don't live in being depressed is living in the past. When you're depressed, you're focusing on stuff that's already happened. You can't change it. It's already done. The best thing you can do is go, all right, I learned something. I'm better because of it, and now live for today.
Yeah.
People that have anxiety, they're worried about what's going to happen in the future. What's going to happen? I can't control it. Well, we can't control what's going to happen in 5 minutes.
Exactly.
So take a step back. Focus on what you can control right now. And those are the things that people need to focus on. But we're being pulled in so many different directions right now. And our young people haven't been able to get outside of themselves to see. When you're older, you can see back in, right? When you're young, you only have limited scope on things. And so therefore, you're just going, well, this is what I think I'm doing at the time. The right thing I think I'm doing at the time. You might fall on your face, but then when 10, 15 years later, when you look back, you're like, okay, I understand why I fell on my face.
I feel like that's true. Like a lot of kids and younger people, part of my voice, I'm still trying to get over whatever the funk I got. That's what I've been telling people. Whatever the funk I got, know? But a lot of the younger people, I feel like, look ahead, and they're so dialed in ahead, and whatever happens, they'll deal with it as they come. But it's when they do get older, they kind of turn back around and was like, I was a little shit back then or whatever. Or, this did happen. Maybe I could have done it a little differently, or I don't know what it is, but maybe it is what you said. You get a little bit more mature. as you age and you look back and say, man, I shouldn't have done that, or I'm a change now, or you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and becoming a parent as well.
Yeah, true.
I myself have only have 3 stepkids, no vagina trophies of my own. But, that's life-changing. That also gives you a calendar. My husband calls it the life calendar, where your child's now growing up, so that as they're growing up, you're seeing the calendar pages go by faster, and your mortality, because, you have a literal human being growing up in front of your very eyes. So, and you have to protect it, and it's your responsibility now.
Yeah.
It's not, you're not as self-centered anymore because you have a human to take care of. So that's what children usually does for people. And hopefully from our discussions, it kicked you in the butt, and also obviously a good woman in your life. And, but, that's, it's just life experiences, and the good and the bad. And we have to have the bad in our lives, because that's why my husband is the best thing for me, in the sense that he gives me pushback. When you're in the entertainment business, people want to blow sunshine up your ass, and when you're on social media, I love you, you're great. So it's easy to get an inflated head,
right? Yeah.
But then you turn the cameras off, and you got somebody beside you, you're not as great as everybody, or whatever, But it keeps you grounded, and that's
exactly.
I need that. And then my husband's the best thing for me, and I know that he's the one and only person I can count on. He's got my back, and no matter what anybody says,
he's your person.
And my penguin, he's the penguin. And whatever the internet decides they think about a relationship, it's only the 3 years on social media has only brought us closer together.
Oh yeah,
because of the the chaos that people want to create around us.
You were saying about the Unstoppable. Where can they find that documentary?
Oh, yes. The Unstoppable Me documentary is now streaming on Amazon, Apple TV, Google Play or Pay, whatever it is, iTunes, and Vimeo.
Awesome.
Please write a review, especially on Amazon. If you watch it on any other platforms, write a review on IMDb, Independent Movie Database. Look up Unstoppable Me documentary, write a review. Because the more people share it, like I said, it's my legacy. I want to get it out there. My body's not doing great. My body's shutting down. So, I don't know how long I got. Well, I'm in it till I'm not. But, I want this out there. And hopefully it inspires and motivates people to live their best life, because you only got one.
Exactly. And we'll put the links to those in the description as well. That way they can find that. Just send them to me, and then I'll copy and paste them.
Excellent.
Do all that cool stuff. A little bit more, and then we'll finish up. Tours coming up. So I was so thankful that Tanyalee made some time for me to come down, and I just got back from California, and then she was like, well, let's schedule something soon, because I'm headed across the sea there. So tell me about your tour coming up.
Okay, well, before I leave on my UK tour, so how long do you take to edit this? What do you?
It'll be out on Tuesday. So.
Oh gosh. Yeah. Okay, so Tuesday. So February 2nd, I'm coming to North Ridgeville, Ohio, just south of Cleveland. You can get tickets through Eventbrite, Tanyalee Unstoppable Me through Eventbrite. Then I'll be in Navarre, Florida, February 17th at Stripes Pub and Grill. I'll be in Crestview, Florida at the American Legion, February 18th. And I'll be at the Sunrise Theater in Fort Pierce, Florida, February 24th, before I go on my 23-city tour of the United Kingdom and Ireland. So I have 9 days in England, 3 dates in Ireland, the Irish Republic, which is not part of the UK, and then I have 11 nights straight in Scotland. And in between there, I'm going to go a little trip to Turkey to dry out and go visit my friend, because I can't do 23 straight days. I need a break in between and get some massages.
I'm so excited for you.
So I'm excited too. Like I said, they need me over there.
Oh yeah, I think everybody needs a little bit of Tanyalee, in my opinion. And I'm so blessed to be able to sit down with you for the time that I have, and eat dinner with you last night. Where did we go? It was
we went to like a little Eastern European. It's a strip mall that doesn't have anything in it.
It was so weird.
Little, insurance company, and then this little babushka place or whatever, and it's just borscht and pierogies, and we had some great.
I don't know what I had, and I was like, look, I don't even want to waste my time looking at the menu. Just pick me out something good, and we shared some dessert.
Apple pie and baklava.
Yes,
right?
good stuff. So good. Well, what do you got for me? Anything?
I also have my open bar comedy special coming out.
Yeah.
I don't have a specific date on that. We filmed a podcast in conjunction with the comedy special. So open bar comedy is kind of like dry bar comedy, if you're familiar with dry bar. It's a streaming platform. Dry bar comedy, all the comedians have to be squeaky clean and very, granola, rated G material. Open bar comedy is free speech, no holds bar, same type of platform. So they'll put out little chunks. We have, I think, 30-minute comedy specials. So if you want to see the whole comedy special, you subscribe. You can buy it, or you can buy a subscription to the entire open bar comedy and get all the comedians specials available. So of course I'll be plugging that when the special comes out. So we got the tour, the special, the documentary, and
scuba diving.
The scuba diving. Yep, and my tour. I got tour dates basically until July right now, and more to come. So contact your local comedy clubs and request me. Right now I'm doing this just word of mouth. So I need, if you like what I do, the 3 things you need to contact on social media, your comedy clubs, and say you're a fan of Tanyalee Davis. You want to buy tickets, and when are they going to book me? Those are the 3 things. Because it's funny, because fans will contact a club, and the club will be like, well, send me her dates. And it's like, but they're just fans, just tell them you're a fan.
Before we close out, I know I keep saying this, but more questions keep popping in my head. Yeah. But this was a little bit that I saw. There's a couple things you do not do to dwarfs.
First of all, don't pat us on the head. It's beneath you people. And don't pick us up. As I said, I got a big old booty. I'm solid.
She's telling the truth.
And number 3, no vodka after midnight.
And why is that?
Because we multiply. Or we try.
I love it.
Feel free to get me wet.
Well, Tanyalee, thank you so much for spending time with me and getting on the podcast. And I'm so blessed to be able to come down and travel. I don't know how many miles you put on that scooter, but I know there's about 1 million more to come. And I'm so excited for you. And thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. All
right.
Awesome Lawsons.
Yeah, that's right, baby. Anyways, guys, don't forget to give this video a big old thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and most importantly, turn on all bell notifications, because you just never know who we're gonna have on the show. And today it's Tanyalee Davis. In the weeks to come, we got some more comedians and some musicians, and I'm so excited. And so continue to listen and tune in and see who all we got on the show. But until next time, stay awesome, stay sweet, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.